My first experience of epilepsy was waking up on a dance floor after taking a seizure. And the next week I did the same thing, went to the same disco, had another seizure and continued to have seizures on and off for weeks. Well, I went to the doctor and I explained about waking up in strange places and not knowing what had happened to me. So he decided to send me to Beaumont for an EEG, and I went to Beaumont, had the EEG, and they right away diagnosed that I had epilepsy. I was completely floored when I found out I had epilepsy. I didn't know anybody with epilepsy, I didn't know anything about epilepsy. I just knew that the doctor had given me a big list of things that I could not do and must not do. And I was big into playing football at the time. I'd played football 5 nights a week, and that was one of the you must not do. So I left the doctors and went and played my next game of football, and I never stopped playing the football. I carried on playing the football, and I kind of have treated it a bit like that most of my life. I have 2 types of epilepsy seizures. I have the big one, the grand mal or tonic-clonic seizures, and I also take absences. The major seizures, I would have no idea when they're coming, or very rare that I would even feel woozy beforehand. I would just go down like a stone and that's it. And I know nothing about them or hear nothing or see nothing while they're going on. I'm completely unconscious, and you just wake up, and it can take a wee while to realise where you are, what's going on around you. The absences, on the other hand, happen every day, maybe 10 times in a day, where you could be sitting talking to somebody and they're saying something to you, and then you realise that you've probably missed a couple of sentences in between because it's not making sense. Or somebody's been at one side of a room and suddenly they're at the other side of the room or out of the room and you haven't seen them leaving. But you actually get used to them very easily. And at home, my children call them mommy moments. They'll just say, oh, she's back in the room. You were gone for a wee minute there, and everything carries on. Everybody's just used to it. They're a lot easier to deal with. And most people around you wouldn't even notice that you were taking them unless they went on a bit longer than usual for a couple of minutes. And even at that, it just looks like you're daydreaming. But the bigger ones are harder to deal with and take a lot more mentally to deal with than physically. The physical part's over in a day or so, you're back to being 100% again. But inside your head, it takes a bit longer than that to deal with the fact that this has happened again. When I met my now husband, he'd have been, I suppose, the best way to say it is a bit freaked out the first time it happened. But he didn't freak out to the extent that he ran off or anything. He stuck with it and he adapted to it maybe even quicker than I did. And he has been absolutely brilliant the whole way through. He's always been very calm, dealt with me very calmly, and was always there with the, you're grand, you've had a seizure, you'll be grand in a few minutes. Just rest yourself in your ear the minute you opened your eyes, which is really reassuring. My children have grown up with my epilepsy from they were able to walk. They've seen me falling over, and they never had a moment's qualm about it. They just deal with it so calmly and make jokes about it and all the rest, just get on with it. They've always been absolutely brilliant. Well, if you're diagnosed with epilepsy at 17 or 18, it can be very daunting. You can feel like you don't know what's going to happen with the rest of your life, or you're not going to be able to do this, that or the other. I was diagnosed at 18, I got married, I raised 2 children, I now have a grandson. I worked in a factory at that time. I wasn't trained to do anything else. So I went back to college, and I did 5 years in college and got a degree in accounting and finance. And I work now in a primary school as a secretary with children, and they're a lot more educated in epilepsy than we were when we were children. They know all about it. And there's nothing you can't do. I coached the boys' football team in school because I was so into football. So I'm taking 30 boys away to football matches and training them 3 times a week. So way back at 18, I'd never believed I could have done those things. This year I took part in a Strictly Come Dancing competition to raise money for the school and danced in front of 700 people. There's nothing you can't do. There's absolutely nothing you can't do. If it's something you want to do, you can get up and get on with it and do it.